Good day, mates. My name is Mordecai, and welcome back to the show, where an aspiring roleplayer narrates various RPG-related stories as a learning tool. I am speaking through my familiar Quasar for this narration. One of the best parts of playing a tabletop role-playing game are that you get to have experiences that can't easily be replicated through other forms of media, such as video games. Because the tabletop can be a highly collaborative environment, which allows for anything reasonable to happen, you can have fantastical adventures, where the party travels through the mountains of Faztagoth to find a mysterious relic guarded by an ancient dragon. Just to give an example of the kind of imaginative processes that can arise to form plot points and the suspension of disbelief. However, a problem can sometimes arise from the suspension of disbelief and the need for imagination at the table. This could sometimes be caused by the perception of the players. Some players, especially new ones, will migrate across to the tabletop from the realm of video games, where certain behaviours and tropes are expected or otherwise anticipated. For a point of comparison, in how many open-world free-roaming video games do you encounter random battles as every person and their companion animal walks out of the woods to challenge the party? If that sounds absurd, that's because not every person who hangs out in the woods is some neer-do-well bandit intent on acquiring the party's loaves of bread. If you want to create the idea that the world that the players are exploring on the tabletop is its own world, you have to sometimes have people behave as people do, with some degree of intelligence. So how does the display of right proper intelligence cause a, and I'm putting this in air quotes, problem for the party in today's story? Let's find out as we embark on another delve. Before we begin with today's story, if you like my content and want to see more, feel free to subscribe and like the video. It's free to do, and every bit of support is highly appreciated. Plus, you can always change your mind at a later date. Let's delve into the often terrifying world of r/RPG horror stories. Today's narrative is titled DM Gets Blamed Because Bandits Act Like Intelligent Human Beings, and is written by Asterion Del Toro. After one or two adventures together, the party was contracted by the town guard to deal with some bandits who'd been ambushing travellers to and from the boonies. Walking along the road, they run into a camp of neer-do-wells. Rough-looking guys, the DM says, set up in tents along the side of the road. As the party approaches, the ruffians laugh at what is apparently a dirty joke. The party's face hails the men, who get quiet all of a sudden. After some small talk, the face of the party tells them that he and his fellows are looking for the bandits troubling the road. One of the toughs, a gruff man with only one good eye, replies, "You don't say." Tension hangs in the air. "Yes," says the face. "Would you happen to know anything about that?" "What are you implying?" the one eye answers. "Well," the face says, "if you've been camped out here for a while, you've probably seen something. Or maybe heard from some people who were attacked?" The DM is not sure where this is going. The face is being very friendly, and none of the players seem to be expecting a fight. The DM asks for a perception check. Everyone passes, and the DM tells them that these men look like real rough customers. Most of them have scars, all of them are wearing patchy leather armor, all of them are armed with worn but lethal looking weapons, whom they also all have their hands on. Most of them have recent cuts and superficial wounds, and all of them are keeping their eyes on the party. The face smiles, understanding what the DM's getting at, or so he thinks. "In fact, from the look of it, you seem to have had some trouble recently. Maybe a scuffle with these same bandits?" One-Eye just simply stares, saying nothing but looking a little confused. Since you're not dead, you obviously managed to drive them off, yes? Did you happen to see which way they fled? Another party member cuts in. If you can help us find a hideout, we'll gladly give you a share of the reward. The One-Eye tells the party to hold on a second, then confers with his men out of the party's earshot. After a minute or so, One-Eye comes back. Yeah, we tussled with them. In fact, we know exactly where they're holed up. They're too tough for us, but you lots look like you wouldn't have too much trouble. Come on, we'll show you. A quick hike takes the party and their new comrades into the woods, to a cave on a hillside. A short distance inside the cave, they come to a rope bridge stretched across a cavern. One-Eye tells the party to go first. There's trouble on the opposite side. The party does so. Are the bandits close? The face asks. Very close. In fact, they're right behind you. And with that, the bandits cut the ropes, collapsing the bridge and sending the party tumbling into the deep chasm below. All the while, One-Eye and his crew laugh. The players immediately call shenanigans on the DM. What the heck? The face says. Why are they betraying us for the bandits? Those were the bandits, the DM responds. That is complete bogus, says another player. If they were bandits, they would have attacked us on sight. You're just making nonsense up to punish us. Why would they have attacked you? Asked the DM. They're bandits! It's what they do! They attack people on roads and take their stuff! Another player cuts in. Gad, it's a stupid move, man. It feels like you just decided they were the bandits on a complete whim. Everybody is glaring at the DM. Everyone is peeved off. Look, bandits are like predators, the DM says. They don't attack the strongest prey, but the weakest. The people who travel this road are small peddlers and farmers. You're mercenaries with weapons, armor, and magic. They're not going to pick a fight with you if they can avoid it. Screw you, DM! You're just a terrible DM! How are we supposed to fight them if they won't attack first? You could have attacked first. You're working for the town guard, and they're obviously all the more reason they would attack us! A player cuts in over the DM's explanation. The DM looks around in sheer disbelief. He seems to be the only one at the table who finds it plausible for professional criminals to assess risks and exercise discretion. The DM quickly moves on, with the party landing at the bottom of the pit, forgetting about the fall damage to mollify them, which segues into a dungeon crawl to get back to the surface. In the end, the players consider it a satisfying session, but to this day, they consider this incident to be a huge gaffe on the Dungeon Master's part. They seemingly can't comprehend that a bandit could be anything other than an automaton who sees adventurers and flies into a homicidal rage to shake down a heavily armoured party for a few coins to buy dinner. Heaven forbid that the NPCs be at least as intelligent as the players. In summary, the party fails to recognize obvious bandits because they don't attack immediately, getting led into a trap before blaming the Dungeon Master for making the bandits behave like they can actually think. And that's where the story ends. Now, let's get the obvious out of the way. The group of bandits were obviously ruffians of some form, and the party did basically hand the bandits a golden opportunity to ambush them in a highly unconventional manner. The only issue that I could see with what the bandits did is that it strongly implied that they were camped on the side of the road, and not somewhat further off to the side of said road. I am honestly surprised that the party didn't even attempt to do an insight check on the group of bandits to try and figure out if they were being led into a trap or not. However, when we consider the group's rather hostile response to these professional criminals taking advantage of their naivety, I think it's a fair assessment to say that they thought the bandits would act as video game bandits do. So, since the tabletop is meant to represent a living, breathing world where people act as people do, it makes sense for an organized group of bandits to take the advantage where one is handed over on a silver platter. Although, I do have to call into question how professional those bandits actually were, considering how exposed to the road they were. At the very least, One Eye was a competent leader, luring the party into a trap. The DM did give the party plentiful hints that these rough customers were not regular civilians, and it would have been reasonable to assume that maybe the individuals being talked to were in fact the bandits that the party were seeking out, on behalf of the town guard. For me, the main considerations that can be taken away from the story are that if we want the world to have a sense of verisimilitude, then we need the occasional encounter with smart bandits. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed my content and would like to see more, feel free to subscribe and give the video a like. It's free to do, and every bit of support is highly appreciated. Plus, you can always change your mind at a later date. Thank you again for watching, and I shall see you all next time.